Franklin Sherman Elementary School is named for Benjamin Franklin Sherman, a school board member who served Fairfax County's historic Providence District during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Franklin Sherman was born in 1843 in Locke, New York, to James Sherman Jr. and his wife Fidelia Fairchild. In 1851, James Sherman purchased Ash Grove, an estate in Fairfax County, 2 miles west of present-day Tyson's Corner, and relocated his family there. At the age of 14, Franklin Sherman was sent to Peekskill, New York, to attend school. Just 4 years later, the American Civil War began. His parents, avid Unionists and abolitionists, entertained officers from the Union Army regiments encamped near their home. In the summer of 1863, at the age of 20, Franklin Sherman was commissioned a first lieutenant in the 10th Michigan Cavalry and eventually rose to the rank of captain. In November 1864, then Lieutenant Sherman was captured during a reconnaissance mission at Thornhill Gap in Tennessee and imprisoned at Wytheville, Virginia. After a short confinement, Sherman escaped and walked 250 miles to Louisa, Kentucky, where he rejoined the Union Army. After the war, Sherman returned to his family's home, Ash Grove. In 1866, Caroline Matilda Clapp Alvord, a missionary teacher from Greenfield, Massachusetts, whose family were prominent leaders in the abolitionist movement, relocated to Fairfax County to teach freed slaves. On a visit to Ash Grove, Alvord noticed Sherman chopping wood, and it was love at first sight. The couple married in September 1867 and had 11 children. In 1869, Franklin Sherman was appointed military sheriff of Fairfax County. After Virginia was readmitted to the Union, Sherman ran for the civil office of sheriff in the fall of 1870 and won. He was the only Republican Party candidate elected in Northern Virginia that year. Sherman resigned a few months later when the duties of his office came into conflict with his moral convictions.
I have the honor to tender herewith my resignation as Sheriff of Fairfax County, Virginia. My convictions of right and humanity will not permit me to hold an office under which it may be my duty, either in person or by deputy, to flog any human being as a judicial punishment.
In June 1871, Sherman began a 2-year term as a Fairfax County supervisor for Providence Township. He was also named a school trustee and served on the school board of Providence District for some 30 years. In 1904, Sherman wrote a letter to his son Henry, in which he described his excitement about the adoption of new history textbooks for the school system. He also spoke about the trolley system that in the next decade would have a profound impact on the school system.
The Great Falls Road is being graded and is said to be practically ready for the bridges and track up to the Lewinsville and Langley Road. The other trolley is creeping slowly up from West End. Getting out of high school at 2:30 o'clock, the children can come out onto the trolley and home 2 hours earlier, which means a day trip instead of a night one in winter.
The trolley line crossing at the Lewinsville and Langley Road, modern-day Chain Bridge Road, led to the formation of the McLean community around 1910. With transportation access improving throughout the county, Sherman advocated for improved educational facilities. In October 1914, a 2-story, 6-room school building opened in McLean on what is now Corner Lane. The small schoolhouses in the communities of Lewinsville, Langley, and Prospect Hill were closed, and students from these outlying communities traveled to the McLean School by trolley and automobile. In April 1915, Franklin Sherman passed away and was buried in Arlington National Cemetery. After his death, the schoolhouse in McLean was named in his honor. The current Franklin Sherman Elementary School building was built in 1952 on land adjacent to the first schoolhouse. The first Franklin Sherman School remained in use for a variety of purposes into the mid-1960s and was finally torn down in 1971.